I'm Delicia Ballinger, and I am an independent journalist and mother from Memphis, Tennessee. I walked away from the Democratic Party after I realized our values no longer aligned once I was fired from an all-black news publication here that I worked for almost 10 years. President Trump announced that he was bringing the National Guard to Memphis. It was my job and duty to cover those stories. And of course, as always, by journalistic standards, to always tell the truth, no matter from what size. If you didn't like it, if you liked it, it was my job to be able to cover that, and that's what I did.
Isn't that the job of the media, to tell the truth, not push propaganda? But for whatever reason, especially those on the left, their job isn't to give you the facts, data, and statistics. Their job is to push propaganda, mainly from the Democrat Party.
But it wasn't until I made a video. And this video was made on my own time. And it was from a mother experience because I live in these communities where it was going to be affected and be impacted. And I realized this one particular day when I'm actually walking out to my mailbox, and it was extremely quiet, which was a normal thing in my neighborhood because I was used to gunshots and other things happening around the neighborhood. For once, it was actually quiet and I could hear the birds sing. So I just made a video about that, just sharing my experience and thanking Trump. The video literally blew up overnight. I wasn't prepared for it, but it did. And a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it. It was like instantly the Black community turned on me because I thanked Trump for it. And not only that, the publication that I worked for was totally against what I said, all because I thanked Trump in the video. From that point going forward, they wanted me to take the videos down. They gave me an ultimatum, but ultimately I wasn't given that chance because by the following day, everything that I was assigned with was taken away. And I was told pretty much, bye. But from that point going forward, it was my job and duty to just make people aware that the media lies, because they do. Why should I be fired for actually telling the truth and showing that the president actually did make a difference in my neighborhood? I then started to do my research and look further and further into the truth when you're talking about President Trump and wanting to know more about the things that he's done. And I realized from there that he's actually done some great actionable things for America. And I never really understood the hate. The more I read, the more I actually started to like him. Crazy thing about it all was that I actually did want to meet the president, but never in my wildest dreams did I think that something like that would happen. Just last month on March 23rd, President Trump came to Memphis to basically show his accomplishments for the Memphis Safe Task Force. And I wanted to be there. And I got that opportunity. I had a chance to meet the 45th and 47th President of the United States. And I was able to be at the round table to share my story of what it was like being here in Memphis and sharing some examples of my life and how the Memphis Safe Task Force made a difference in my neighborhood. I'm super, super grateful. And really, I'm actually thankful for the Democratic Party, for them showing their true selves.
Yep.
Because now I was able to walk away from that plantation and have a mind of my own and think for myself. And it's been one of the best decisions I could have ever made. MAGA and the Republican Party and just the whole right side in general has been so welcoming and so loving. And we've been having some of the most amazing conversations, things that I felt like I should have known by me considering myself an educated Black woman, things that I should have known. But even with that, I've been having the experience of learning more. And I'm so thankful for now being on the right side and having an open mind. So yeah, walking away from the Democratic plantation has been one of the best decisions I could have ever made.
Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. This right here is an example of why you have to remove yourself from these people. Here it is, a young lady working a job, and because she voiced an opinion based off of the neighborhood that she lives in, she loses her job. That goes to let you know when they say all skin folk ain't can folk, this isn't a prime example of it. Because Jasmine Crockett came out the other day and said that, hey, if you walk into a room full of Black folks, you can almost 100% expect that the majority of them are going to think a certain way. And unfortunately, that's what the Democrat Party thinks of Black people. And that's the reason why they don't have to worry about, passing any real legislation or anything along those lines, because they figure that they got you no matter what. The Democrat Party still feels that they own the Black vote in America. And anybody that steps outside of that Democratic plantation, they send their minions to come after you. And they're going to ridicule the heck out of you. Rule number 5 in Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Shout out to my brother, Michael Hancock. Ridicule, because they can't actually refute the points. They couldn't refute anything that this young lady said. They couldn't refute anything that she said about her community or the direction of the Democrat Party. They couldn't. So what do? They fire. They go to ridicule. And I've experienced it. Because when you start hitting people with the true facts and you start pointing them in the direction of where they can look it up at, folks don't want to hear that, man. They don't want to hear it. They want you to go along to get along. Stay on that plantation. Vote the way they want you to vote. And continue life as you've always known it in some of the poorest, most dangerous cities in America. Let's keep going. I'm so tired of old fools like this.
It's a GOP war on Black America.
Really?
And if we don't stand up and fight back, we're going to be back in the cotton fields.
The only war being waged is for Black votes. Every 2 years like clockwork.
Trump is a dictator, Republicans are racist, democracy is over, they gonna put y'all back in chains. You're going to the cotton field, boy.
Enough. We're going to break this down civically. Let's have an adult conversation. Not emotionalism, legally, constitutionally. Now, in order to put y'all black asses back on cotton fields, being slaves, or whatever it is y'all fetishize this week, you would have to fundamentally change or repeal the 13th Amendment. So let's consult Article 5 of the Constitution, which details the amendment process. So you'll need a 2/3 vote in the House of Representatives and a 2/3 vote in the Senate. But that's not it. Then you would need 38 states to ratify it. But wait, there's more. Now, altering or repealing the 13th Amendment, slavery is not coming right back after that, because then Congress and the states would then have to confer to create these new laws. Laws that will create the system that's going to put y'all back in chains. And in many states, they'd have to amend their own constitutions. And somehow, with all of that process, I'm supposed to believe that we are one election away from being back on cotton fields. 12% of the legislative branch, aka Congress, is black. We have 2 black Supreme Court justices. If you can't explain the constitutional pathway, if you can't explain the legal mechanisms, then stop repeating political slogans as though they're facts. Because once you understand the process, people can't scare you into voting for them. That's why civics matters. An informed citizen is much harder to manipulate than a frightened voter. And Democrats, you have a 60-year sample size of monopolizing the black vote. What exactly have you built? Because vote for us or your life is over is not vision, it's not leadership, and it damn sure isn't a platform. We are free men and women in 2026, and your strongest argument is we're one election away from being back on cotton fields? Just cut the dog mess. What are you pretending not to know?
Man. Shout out to AJ Rants, man. Y'all need to go follow this brother over on Insta. Dude is cooking, and he's absolutely right. I am so sick of these old, tired civil rights Negroes. I'm tired of them. And I'm also tired of the young ones that's coming up behind them, pushing this same foolishness. Can we bring civics back to schools so people actually understand, how a bill is passed and how one could be repealed? Please. Because if they actually bring civics back and people really understand what can and can't be done, they wouldn't fall for this stuff. But there are too many of these old civil rights, do nothing black congressional Congress members that will get out there and fearmonger folks to vote for them. Don't actually offer anything that makes any sense for their communities. We're going to bring some new private sector business. Hey, we're going to offer some grants for you to start a business. No, we're not going to do any of that. No, just vote for us because you're an election cycle away from finding yourself in bondage again. While the same party pushes socialism, which leads to communism, which leads to actually putting you in chains. That's what the Democrat Party is pushing in 2026. And the sad part about it is you got so many people that they want this free stuff. They want something for nothing, that they would give up their freedom. They would give up their freedom willingly for trinkets. And when they're in bondage and they're in abject poverty, that's when they'll wake up and realize, like, what did we do? We made a mistake. They need to be listening to people like myself and like this brother and so many others, out here that are telling them, stop listening to these people. Seriously.
What I would say is this, is that I don't have a problem talking to people who are radical leftists, people who don't agree with me, but it's not this, I don't get the same respect when I say that I'm a Republican, because somehow, because I'm black, I'm supposed to agree with what other black people do, and which is predominantly
it's not necessarily
Democrat.
agreeing what other black people do, but I mean, when you look and observe very carefully, even if you don't do it carefully, you look at the Republican Party, there's no representation that looks like you.
I'm so tired of hearing this too. We are Americans, and I'm supporting the policies, a party and the policies based on what I think makes sense for my life and the trajectory that I want to see this nation go in. I'm not concerned with how much or how little melanin an individual has to get in the offices. We see the Congressional Black Caucus. I got to bring them up again. This is a group of, quote unquote, melanated people who have done absolutely nothing, and their policies are trash. So we got to stop with this. Just put somebody that looks like you. No, I want someone in office that thinks like me. I want someone in office that I can say, you know what? Their policies and their ideology makes sense for me in the direction that I want this country to go. Their policies and ideologies make sense based off of my beliefs, my moral background, and what I think is right. I'm so tired of this representation. Representation has gotten folks nowhere.
On tables, because my Republican ideology is not based off of who's in the White House. And that's what I've told people before. I am a Republican because I believe that it closely lines up with my values when it comes to things of faith, things with, saving the Second Amendment, which is important because oftentimes Democrats want us, us to be gunless. Then for us, what would be
Do Democrats
taxes
want you to be gunless, or just gun laws that are
gun laws are racist?
Yes, they are. And they want you gunless because they understand that if they can disarm the population, they can control the population. Think about all of these socialist, communist, super far left leaning places around the world. Look at what happened in Venezuela. As soon as they disarmed the population, full-fledged communism kicked in, and the people were in abject poverty from that point on, doing everything that they could to flee the nation. They were locking people up for, saying things about the president or disagreeing with the country's policies.
gun laws are racist?
Yep.
How is that, Willie?
Most of the gun laws are in place have always caused more damage to the black community than it has any other community.
Yeah, these people, that's what I'm saying, man. These people that get these platforms and they know nothing. Take some time and do some research, man. Seriously, take some time and do some research. That shouldn't have been a surprise to you.
Let me ask you something. If a black Democrat raised $65 million for a governor's race, had the president of the United States in his corner, and was backed by nearly
Is that a Care Bears mug?
every member of his state's congressional delegation, do you think that would be front page news? You already know the answer.
It definitely would.
Byron Donalds just reported $65.8 million cash on hand in the Florida governor's race. He raised $14 million in just the last 2 months alone. He has the Trump endorsement. He has Rick Scott. He has 17 of Florida's 20 members of Congress and 63 members of the Florida House behind him. This man came to Florida at 17 years old on a Greyhound bus with nothing but a trunk full of clothes. He built a family, built a career, served in the state legislature, served in Congress, and now he's positioned to become the next governor of the third largest state in America. That is an American story. That is a black American story. And the same media that claims to celebrate black success can't find the time to cover it because Byron Donalds doesn't fit the narrative they're selling. They need you to believe black conservatives don't exist, that black Republicans are a contradiction. Byron Donalds is living proof that that's a lie.
He is absolutely right. And everybody knows that if Byron Donalds was a Democrat, he would be on every mainstream media platform. They will be touting him up like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But because he is a conservative, because he is a Christian, he believes in the word of God, he's married and he's raised his children within that union. Yeah, he bumped his head early on and they want to try to throw that on him, but who hasn't as a young man, right? Lord knows I did before I found my way and said, you know what? I don't want to live my life like that. But here it is. You got a man who basically, essentially has got it out the mud and showed you, hey, with some hard work, due diligence, and being willing to get comfortable, being uncomfortable, he's a step away from being the governor in the third largest state and one of the best states in all of the country. That right there in itself lets you know that the Democrat Party, and especially when it comes to quote unquote Black Democrats, they are full of it.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but in the Black community, we have to start separating Black people. And let me explain to you guys what I mean by that. You guys, me personally, I classify the Black community into two parts. Well, technically three. One part, and the best part, is the normal functioning, strong-willed, ambitious Black people that create good Black societies. Then you have Black Israelites, which I like to call them Black Mormons. And then you have Black folk who are only worried about the system, white supremacy, and being victims. You guys, it's no secret that the Black community is doing poorly. We're at the bottom of most socioeconomic stats in America. And every single year, it seems like the Black community degrades further and further into absolute anarchy. And listen, I know Black history. I know there was slavery. I know there was Jim Crow. I know there was segregation and all that other hoo-ha. But guess what? You weren't there for any of it.
Yep.
Black people complain about slavery that they weren't there for. They complain about Jim Crow that they weren't there for. They complain about all the work they had to do that they themselves were not there for. So what does that have to do with the Black community being abysmal now?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just an excuse. In some kind of way, there's been a plethora of people that have allowed the lowest denominator, of melanated people to be the spokesperson for the masses. And it's ridiculous. But I want to get your thoughts on any of this. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family or buy your brother a coffee. The link's in the description box below. And as always, keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Peace.
It is God who arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, he gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, fear can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. In the Lord hit my chest, kicked death from my breath, put power in my step.